Contact event number 5. This is where things begin to get really interesting, if it hasn't gotten interesting yet. So this occurs here at Bunsen Lake, right by water. It's under the power lines, and I get dropped off on the other end of Bunsen Lake. Apparently, this generator is haunted. It's well known if you look at famous hauntings in Vancouver. The power generator at Bunsen Lake is haunted. Missing 411 occurs on the other side of Indian Arm. This is the Mount Seymour, 6 of them. If you're looking at a geomagnetic area that has a lot of activity, this is going to be it right here. Deep Cove has sightings, but this whole area, Bunsen Lake, that place is haunted. And then you got UFO activity happening in the Deep Cove area. And you got 6 of the most missing 411 cases of the Vancouver Mountains, 6 occurring in Mount Seymour. And some of them are very strange indeed. So Deep Cove, okay, a group of about 10 people were at the west end of Myrtle Park around 8 p.m. So they are over here, Deep Cove, and Myrtle Park is over here. Yeah, right there, Myrtle Park. Waiting for the Halloween fireworks display to start. They watched a big orange ball travel along the mountains toward Deep Cove. When the fireworks started, the orange ball made a right-angled turn and came towards the park. Whenever there was a burst of fireworks, it seemed to respond by changing shape and brightness. The ball stayed in view for about 15 minutes and got as close as 500 feet. A friend of mine went to Burning Man and said, when you're out there, there's tons of UFOs. And I said, well, that's, for me, evidence of like the White Room. Like the White Room was this kind of like rave, if you will, like an alien rave. You're in this like high, heightened delight in state and very joyful. And remember I mentioned the kind of child energy that's associated with the kind of like the paranormal entities. And I say that there's a child energy associated with the gray aliens. And you got some kind of like child play here going on. It's excited by the fireworks, and so it's changing the shape and colors of the craft. It's almost a call and response, and I just thought that was really fascinating. Some honored guests turned up Sunday night for the second day of a long weekend conclave of the psychic phenomenon. So in 1965, a psychic phenomenon was occurring, and there was a whole bunch of bright lights on top of Seymour Mountain and Birch Bay and a bunch of and the Vancouver airport. But that's right here, 1965, and it was in the newspaper. I thought that was really fascinating. This is a police officer with a military background, lived on Blue Ridge area of Seymour Mountain. Through the bathroom window, he observed 3 red and white pulsating cylindrical lights. The sensor alarm in the patio went off. And then one of his dogs outside began to whine. He panicked, tried to wake up his wife, but he couldn't. His wife was asleep like a rag doll. Then his child, 9-month-old child, started giggling. He was terrified. This all happened at 3 a.m. It's all in the area of Mount Seymour. So this police officer kind of had this like really weird experience, and that's mentioned in the database. Okay, so
interesting point there about the child giggling.
Yes. Yeah, everyone's panicking, but the child is giggling. Yeah, you got it.
Again, it's almost like a manipulation of minds to distract and keep the child happy while all this is going on. A bit like that scene in Close Encounters when all the toys start going.
Right. Yes. Everyone else is freaking out, but the child is the one who's like, yeah, finds it like joyful or something. Yeah, I find that really interesting. Okay, so I didn't know about the missing 411, and I had my own experience out here, actually. You actually have Quarry Rock, and you park your car along a road, Mount Seymour Road, and then you hike down. And I was learning about Sasquatch at the time, and so I was I'd learned some things about Sasquatch. If I was looking for signs of Sasquatch, is basically what it was, but I was just having fun. I wasn't taking it any seriously. And I heard these big cracking, breaking going on, like something was breaking big sticks in the forest. And I thought, oh, that kind of sounds like a Sasquatch thing. I didn't know what the hell was going on, so I made the call. I did the call, whoop, and I made the whoop noise, and then something back, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. I just you don't know, right? It's a human playing with you. Who knows? And then I went and sat at a bench, and at the bench was this massive peeling of the bark. And that's when I was like, what the hell did that? Because when you're looking for the, the Bigfoot signatures, you're looking for these kind of signatures that humans can't do, that still don't look natural. Typically, 15, 20 feet up, branches will be broken in a direction, and that's territorial. They're saying, this is my territory, you stay here. And this was at a bench, and it couldn't have been any more an example of territory. But there's no, living here in Vancouver, there's no mention of a Bigfoot in Mount Seymour. No one's ever mentioned that. No one's ever witnessed it, not that I'm aware of. Yet it might explain why the hell there's so many missing 411 cases on Mount Seymour. So very weird stuff has happened up there. It really seems to start in 1953. Arthur, and you got a point of separation. He's working, but also seems to be, as I mentioned previously, seems to be encroaching. So they're building a transmission tower on for CBC on the mountain. And then he's working that day. He gets a splitting headache. He leaves. He's never seen again, ever again. But he's got a splitting headache, but the dogs pick up a trail that goes up the mountain, that goes high up the mountain. None of that makes sense. And then the dogs lose the tracks, and then that's it. Even David Pilates is asking, why would someone hike up a mountain who's got a splitting headache? None of that made any sense. Never found again. Michael Bryant and Charlie Musso go missing in the area of Mystery Lake on Mount Seymour, both in the same area. Charlie Musso is the one who sounds like he's caught in another dimension. People can hear him calling for help. You have someone calling for help that no one can find. Two different parties heard him calling for help. They go in, they look, and he's not in any area. So how can you have someone calling for help that you can't find someone? You go in and looking for them, and they're not visible. And then there's no sign of them ever found again. Both of them are casual. They're not doing big hikes. They're going for a day hike that's only a couple kilometers, and then they get lost. They don't even seem to get lost. In both cases, they know the trail. So in both cases, none of that makes any sense. And then to have no sign of them, we're talking hundreds of search and rescue go looking for them, and they're never found again. Stephen Ebby, his head goes missing. His body is found in a creek, and his head is missing. Very disturbing stuff. 150 search and rescues were involved. And then his body was, basically washed down Swift Creek, and it was not considered foul play, even though his head was not found. That's just weird stuff, man. And even David Pilates is like, how does the hell a head not get found? And how the hell does the head get ripped off? And it's not like he's in a massive river. He's in a creek. Like, these things don't add up, and they keep happening on Mount Seymour. And you had Carl Walter, basically a point of separation. Wife stays behind. Carl goes ahead. That's it. Never found again. And then you have the same with Jared Stanley, who basically goes missing. And this one is interesting because the family, it's hard to know. The family don't know if something mysterious was actually occurred. They do find his body, but it's found in a place that they already searched. So that's another key signature of missing 411 is previously searched. So fascinating stuff, man. I mean, is it fascinating? It's kind of sad, actually, but fascinating in the sense of the paranormal, that it's all occurring in this kind of paranormal hotspot.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in here about Mount Seymour. There's another mysterious case. This is a mysterious case that was posted in December 31st, 2008, where rescue crews rescued a snowboarder who was found after being missing for 3 nights on Mount Seymour. But he says he was not alone. He says that there was another set of tracks that he saw, and so he was interviewed, and he told people he saw another set of tracks on the mountain on a Tuesday afternoon. We have to go back to where we found him. There may be a second subject missing. Well, they searched. They didn't find this other subject, but it was odd that there was this other separate set of tracks where this guy had gone missing for 3 days and then been found. And I don't think they ever found this another person there, and I don't think they ever found out if anyone was missing.
Right.
But that was another mysterious part or aspect to this.
That's great, man. Did you just research that right now? You just found that on the
yeah, I looked it up because here we go. Look, it's a case from Mount Seymour.
Oh yeah,
he was not alone. Now it's very strange. Perhaps he was followed or with an invisible entity that left tracks. That's my
Yeah.
take on this.
Yeah, if that's paranormal, my take would be, again, and the paranormal is reading thoughts and feelings. So for some reason they liked him, if that's the case, and they wanted to, yeah, there was some kind of like, and then yeah, they're there, and it's could be like one of these, you know, these bushmen or something, right? Like invisible bushmen, right? Or Sasquatch or something. We have no knowledge, right? But yeah, fascinating. That's interesting you found that, man. This mountain is very strange, strange indeed. And yeah, even for myself to have a weird experience there, I thought that was really weird. I'll add more actually. When my memories were coming out, it was actually at Deep Cove that I had another. That's when when I see the orbs in the sky, I feel like I change a frequency, like something changes in me. I don't really have the answer for it because I don't know it, but I can start to see things in the sky, and then I'll see the orbs. So I feel like kind of shifting, like things like it's like something is there, and then it moves, but I can't quite see it. Deep Cove was the first place I could feel that, or I had that experience, and I was witnessing. I thought I was watching in the sky tons of activity, like I kind of like went into like a paranormal state where I tried to feel things, and I could see activity, like tons of it in Deep Cove. And I was actually with my partner on the beach, and we were, you know, a summer day, and I was like, wow, I really feel like lots of stuff that happens in the area of Deep Cove, only to now put all together that there's this kind of huge activity that goes on in this area. So yeah, all interconnected and very bizarre, nonetheless. Yeah.